Welcome to the Wellness Revolution podcast.
Welcome again to Dr. Veronica's Wellness Revolution. You know I'm Dr. Veronica. I'm happy you decided to tune in again for some more interesting topics. This is going to be one of my favorite topics, I know. Today, we're going to talk about your energy and specifically energy healing. And my guest, her name is Debora Wayne, has a revolutionary way to help people heal. Now, let me just tell you, this is the woo-woo stuff. And you come to me for the woo-woo stuff. But when you've tried everything, this is when you go to her. So I got to tell you my story a little bit behind this. You guys know I've had a knee injury. It's been about 4 years now. I went through lots of rehab. I've done fast release therapy, physical therapy, chiropractic, acupuncture, acupressure. I watch what I eat. You know, I do that anyway, because I can tell you when I eat something and I get hurt. But despite all doing that, my goal was to wear high heels and to be able to run. And so I've done that, but there are these days where it's so stiff and so painful. I'm just like, I can't live like this. I can't live like this. And it's not that it's so painful that I feel angry about that or upset about that. It's more that I feel limited. And so I have these beautiful shoes that I bought before I was hurt. And today, cleaning out my closet, I came across these boxes of shoes. And I couldn't throw them away because I'm throwing away stuff, even if I've never worn it and, you know, it's got a tag on it. You know how you do that sometime. I'm throwing away stuff, not these shoes. I was just like, I'm going to figure out how to wear these things. I got these red shoes. They are so hot. I need to figure out how to wear these things. But if my knee doesn't get in order, I can't wear these things. So I'm frustrated. This requires something other than the physical therapy, you ate this. I'm not doing any narcotics or anything like that. I do my collagen, my hyaluronidase, my protein, my glucosamine and chondroitin. I mean, I have a routine that I know is for joint support. Yet I'm having these problems. So I'm bringing on Debora, because she's going to help not just me, but she's going to help you with where you're stuck with your illness and disease. There are a lot of people, they try everything and they still don't get the result that they're looking for. So we're going to talk about this. Now, Debora has a best-selling book and she's going to give us a gift. Let me tell you the name of her book. It is, wait, I moved the paper away. I can't find it. Okay, no, sorry. See, we always do this and we go with the flow. Why do I still hurt? Rapidly relief for chronic pain, depression, anxiety, and more. Why do I still hurt? And this is a question that I ask some days. I've been doing all this stuff. I've been doing it pretty consistently for 4 years. I know I had a really big injury. But why is it still hurting? Why can't I just get it back? And why do I feel like, you know, no matter what I do, is this going to be I feel almost like it's just going to be my punishment? So Debora, welcome to the Wellness Revolution.
Thank you. What a thrill to be here. I love you. Your energy is amazing. So this is a story I hear a lot. So thank you for inviting me, and to all those listening. I get it. I totally get it.
Well, the interesting part is I know people see me, I do my live videos and I'll be live casting to them from the gym. So they're saying, what? She's having a problem, even though I'm live casting from the gym. I've done an insanity workout or something like that. So I can do quite a lot, maybe more than your average person. But for me, it's limited, and I have pain. Sometimes there was one day about a month ago, I had such pain. There were tears coming to my eyes, but it was emotional pain with the physical pain. Because I was just like, is this it? Is this how I'm going to be? Do I need to like run in and start getting a knee replacement, which is not what I even advocate to people, because I believe there's other ways. But I understand how people use walkers, use canes, use wheelchairs. say I'm gonna have surgery. I know a lot of people who have back pain and they're in such agony. They have all kinds of procedures and surgeries and things, and it still doesn't work. So I know that the answer is not necessarily a procedure, but on the other side, I'm like, help, something's got to work out there. Yeah. So that's where people like you come in. So first, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this.
Yeah, this was a big surprise for me, I'll tell you. I can look back now and see I've been learning about energy my entire life, but I didn't realize where it was leading me. So I started out as a dancer and working, and then went to the visual arts, and then into psychology and hypnotherapy and addictions counseling, and all of it I see now was understanding the psychological, the emotional components of dis-ease, and the missing piece, which is your energy, and how energy, we're constantly being affected by other people's energy, by our environment, by ourselves, how our thinking and our emotions are affecting our own energy. And the real turning point for me, though, was when I actually crashed and burned in my own life. And I had been following the formula, A plus B equals happiness. Go to school, you get a great degree, you get a great career, house, husband, all the stuff. I had all of it. And from the outside looking in, it looked amazing, but I was bankrupt on the inside. And one morning I was in my beautiful walk-in closet and I couldn't get up off the floor.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Couldn't get dressed, couldn't stop crying. I had physical, mental, emotional pain, like out the wazoo. And something big had to change. And I really, at that moment, I was out of answers. And that was a turning point. This is over 30 years ago. It was a really major turning point in my life. And what I discovered was my energy had gotten really off track. It was out of alignment with really who I was. And I was faking it till I could make it, but it was time to stop faking it. And I had to really get honest and really look at everything I was doing, thinking, feeling, and realign everything so that, the saying to thine own self be true. And I had to get back in alignment with that. And wow, I had no idea it would lead me to this work, but it did. It's been a very exciting journey. I had to unlearn, relearn, and rediscover is what I say. I got to rediscover myself and reinvent my whole life and let it come out from within instead of trying to be who I was taught that I should be and follow the path I should be on. I allowed my true authentic self to come out. It led me here.
It's I was like saying, oh my God, in the beginning, because you're describing your story and it's so similar to my own story. I had this beautiful life from the outside. And I'm not going to say it wasn't a beautiful life.
Yes.
I had my own medical practice that was very successful, that had started people working for me, beautiful, gigantic house with a walk-in closet the size of a bedroom. People think this is what makes you happy, all right? The latest and greatest car, a husband that was quite successful from a financial standpoint, 3 kids, everything that you would think wanted to make you happy.
Yes.
Travel anytime I wanted to, any class that I wanted to. I just went to any restaurant I wanted to. It was never a concern that I couldn't have those material things that everybody aspires to.
Yes.
And I will say I was absolutely miserable because I knew I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And so, yes, it was beautiful, but I knew that wasn't where I was supposed to be. I wasn't in the career I thought I should be in. I wasn't in the marriage I thought I should be in. I was certainly not in the religion that I thought I should be in. I knew there was something else. And so the issue, though, is when you have this beautiful life, everybody looks at you and just thinks you're a nasty, unhappy person because you're not happy with all of that stuff.
Right.
And so it was extra hard to let go. It was hard to even admit that I felt like crap.
Exactly. That was the hardest thing I ever in my life admitted to. I so hear you. That is my story. And I mean, people looked at me like, are you kidding? You're going to let go of all of this? This is what we all want. But you know the feeling when you're not in the right place, when you're not living according to your design, you will be miserable and the pain will get worse until you do something about it or you collapse. And I was having physical symptoms. I was having all kinds of depression and anxiety. I was filled with worry. I had to drink every night just to go to sleep. I lived on, sedatives to calm my nerves. Well, I was a wreck because I was lying to myself and to the world. And filled with fear and indecision and just, well, you get it. You're describing it.
Absolutely. So I know there's people also out there who have really, they look at us and say, what's the matter with you? I know there's people out there saying that, what's the matter with you? I don't get you. Yeah. But I do know a lot of other people who have real issues in their life.
Yes.
Yucky husband or yucky wife, problems that are major with their kids. I mean, I met a woman and she had more than one kid who were drug addicts, and just stories I could tell you about problems that seem like, how do you live with that every day? And they had a reason to feel bad. But on the other side of it, I've also met people who have a reason to feel bad and they don't have that. They don't have that weight.
Yes.
I have a very good friend like that who her son died of a heroin overdose when he was 18.
Yeah. She
lives with it, and you would never get from the way she carries herself in her spirit that she had this tragedy of the loss of a child. Okay. So what makes the difference in, what's going on with this anxiety and, depression and all that, which can manifest itself as physical problems? What's going on there?
Exactly. And I don't want to make it seem like it's not physical, because it often is. I mean, I had ulcers, I had all kinds of digestive issues, headaches, mysterious pain everywhere. My hair was falling out. My thyroid was suppressed. My immune system was suppressed. All of these things show up in the body, but they are the result. The body is telling the story of our life, is how I explain it. The body is a picture of your consciousness. The state of your consciousness, which is made up of your thinking, your beliefs, and your emotions, shows up in the physical and in all areas of your life. It shows up in your body, in your finance, in your romance, in your career, or the lack thereof. And so what's going on is that most people only look at the physical. They look at the house, the husband, the BMW in the garage, and they say, wow, great. But we have to go deeper, beyond the appearances, beyond the physical reality, into what makes a person tick, what makes a person at ease or in dis-ease. And it's not one size fits all. And if everything in nature has a blueprint to follow. We are the only form of nature that tries to outthink our blueprint. The acorn follows the blueprint, becomes an oak tree. It's not complaining and going, I wish I were a rose. I wish I were an orange tree. It's becoming what it's designed to become. Humans, oh no, I don't really like who I am. I don't like this. I want to be her. I want to be like that. We outthink because of our intellect. And the mind, I always say the mind is the problem. The mind is the problem, and it gets in the way of nature, of instinct, of our deep inner knowing, which eventually, if you don't listen to it, you'll hear it, or it will show up as a symptom of dis-ease in some way, shape, or form in your life. So we have to go deeper beneath the surface, beneath the physical appearance. And sometimes it takes getting off track to realize there was a track. Sometimes you have to go off and experience. That's why there are no mistakes. It's not something to beat yourself up over. It's something to go, wow, something doesn't feel right over here, exactly what you're describing. And that tells you there's an over here. There is an actual path. And that's the grand learning from Earth School, I call it. You know, we're all on Earth School to learn, or we wouldn't be here.
So you had all this turmoil, but then how did you leap to helping people heal their energy?
Well, first I went into my own recovery process, and I literally had to unlearn. I had to take a look at all my beliefs that I got in childhood. I had thinking that was really getting in the way of my happiness. There were a lot of shoulds. There was a lot of don't make waves and look good and everything's fine. And I was lying. I was basically emotionally and mentally dishonest. So I had to take a good hard look at that. Now, the other big piece is that I had no idea how I felt. If you said to me, Deborah, how do you feel? I would tell you, well, I think, blah, blah, blah. I would tell you how I think. I would go into my head. I had no clue that I was angry. I was frustrated. I had resentments, and I was afraid. I was taught not to be afraid. I was taught certain emotions are not okay. You either put on that happy face, or, if you have nothing pleasant to share, don't share anything at all. So I learned to suppress, repress, and deny my emotions. You'll love this. So when I first asked for help, finally, I literally could not label my emotions. They showed me a piece of paper with smiley faces all over it and said, point to the one that looks like how you feel. That's how bad I was. I had no clue. So I had to learn to really get in touch with deep feeling and learn that feelings are not good, bad, right, or wrong. And to embrace all the colors in the crayon box is how I refer to it. And all of that led me to taking time to get quiet, to go inside and to learn to listen internally, because that's where the answers really are. And we've all heard this. The answers are within. The answers are within you. But I was so busy looking out there and trying to be who I thought I should be, I didn't take the time to listen inside. So I started doing that. And I started meditating again and taking walks in nature and being honest. And wow, oh my goodness. When you start doing things like that, you start hearing the answers. And that led me down a path of curiosity. And I began studying. I went back to school. I started all kinds of courses and workshops. And I became very fascinated by spiritual healing. And I started having a series of experiences that led me to really not just think, but know there's something beyond the physical that we can tap into. And it changes everything. And I started really recognizing that there's energy flowing through us. It was flowing through my hands. I started receiving intuitive guidance, and I recognized I had a higher purpose that could be of service to other people and help them shift out of the same dilemma that I had been in. It's been quite remarkable, and it's evolved over time. And I'd say in 2006 was quite a phenomenal turning point, because I had a really powerful, what I call a spiritual experience, where I had the most dramatic, I was doing Reiki at the time. And one day I went to do a session and I raised my hands to do Reiki in the normal way I always did it. And I felt a force come through me that I had never experienced before. And I heard a voice in my head go, "You are done with Reiki, just stand there." And it was really the first time I 100% knew this was not me. This was coming from a higher power that was flowing through me. And I was able to become the conduit to help people in a more dramatic way. And from that day on, Veronica, from that day on, the healings that have been occurring in my practice have been off the charts. Off the charts. And I've been actually learning all these years since then what's going on. And now I see the connection between that and all the new science. And we are just living in the most exciting times because science is now theoretically explaining and mathematically explaining what the spiritual healing world has known. And they're coming together. And it's a very exciting opportunity to be part of that.
So now you have a particular system. What is your system called? Is it biohealing or
Biofield Healing?
Biofield Healing? Okay, Biofield Healing.
The biofield I discovered it was a discovery made back in the 1980s by Russian scientists who discovered there's a field of energy and information that surrounds every living thing, including our body. And that it's not just energy, it's information, quantum information, that's vibrational information. And we're being affected by that and we're affecting that. And that's the field around us is actually where everything begins. The body's the last place this information shows up. Now, many people have probably heard the term aura.
Yes.
Aura field. That's sort of the layman's term. This is really a very real thing, and we can photograph it now with Kirlian photography and see the changes in the field before, I'm talking years before it ever shows up in the body. And healing can occur. I've learned how, and myself, and how to train others to affect the information in the biofield so that it changes before it shows up in the body. So it's truly like the epitome of preventative medicine.
Beautiful. I love that. It's interesting because I can, you may be able to do this too. Sometimes I can see, some people are wonderful at just seeing it. They've always seen it, but I can see sometimes people's auras and colors and different things in there. It's not something that I look for all the time, but sometimes I'll look at somebody and I can see it just, and usually when that happens, I'm like, okay, there's something going on. Maybe the reason why I'm seeing their aura is because there's something some message I need to give to them. So if I see somebody and I keep seeing something in their aura, I usually approach them and ask them, would you like this information? Yeah. That I'm getting. So
yeah, we have these senses that have yet to be fully developed. They talk about junk DNA, and I've come to believe there's no junk DNA, there's dormant DNA. And this dormant DNA is the key to higher abilities that we're evolving into. And some people like yourself and myself have some of this turned on. And I feel the more we clear out the emotional trauma from our past and the thinking and the beliefs that are actually not true, we create the space for this DNA to be turned on and activated, and these abilities kick in. And I've seen this happen when I perform the biofield healing for people. It awakens a lot of this dormant DNA, and people start to see the auric colors, or they'll hear tones. I hear tones when I work on people. I can actually hear sounds, because everything at the vibrational level is color, light, sound, even fragrance. People will, when I work on them, sometimes they'll report noticing a fragrance. And this is the quantum information. It's not just talking in English. It's quantum information that shows up in these other forms.
It's interesting because at one point I noticed I hear this sound, and at first I thought I have ringing in my ears, but then I realized that it's not exactly ringing in my ears. I feel like I can hear certain vibrations and certain tones that they change at certain times. And a lot of times it's like, maybe most other people would call it ambient noise. Like there's some ambient noise, and I'm like, I hear more than that. But what happens with people is as their intuitive senses become stronger, they all become stronger. And, you know, people have clairaudience and visual. Also, you say the DNA gets turned on. I also believe it can get turned on from training it.
Yes.
Just like your body, you can turn on different muscles and things like that. You can turn on taste.
Yep.
So I like to go and train, like my next, in about a month, I'm going to go train at a particular institute with people so I can just sit and practice what this is and get feedback from people. And people say, well, how do you do this? How do you learn? I don't quite know, but I go with people who know how to do it, and they say, yeah, that's it. Do this, do that. Try it this way. Do this so it comes in clearer. So you may have the ability, and everybody has these intuitive abilities, and everybody, I believe, also has these healing abilities.
Absolutely.
But they are dormant and you have to train them. But you first have to agree and believe that they are there, because if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen for you.
Well, I found you don't have to quite understand it and you don't have to believe it, but when you have the experience of seeing the results, the effects of it, you will then believe it. You may come to believe it later, but everyone, I 100% agree with you. Everyone has these abilities and they're often dormant. So like, for example, when I train my practitioners in the method, they don't all believe it when they come in. In fact, that's usually their biggest fear. They'll say, well, what if I can't do this? But I know, just like you know, everyone can do this. And when you give them some foundational information so their mind calms down a little bit, and then show, really, because the mind is the problem, and then you show them step by step what to do, it's remarkable. And then all of a sudden people go, oh my God, I can do this. And then you see the mind go, oh, really? Really? It's as if the mind takes longer to catch up with what's already happened. And eventually the mind catches up, and people are just amazed at their next level that they step into. So it's really exciting that you're doing the training. I believe in this. This is our future. We're evolving. And it's just the tip of the iceberg of what's possible for all of us. I feel like I call it the divine human. Like we're moving into becoming the divine human with all these abilities and just much more into our unlimited self.
Yes. So can you give us a demonstration or an example of your technique, the Biofield Healing?
Absolutely, would love to. Now, I just want to say, if anyone is joining in for this, you want to only do this if you're sitting or lying down in a safe place, because people will drop into a deep meditative space sometimes very, very rapidly. And they may think, oh, nothing's going to happen, but it does. And so you need to be safe, sitting down, no machinery, no cutting celery, no driving.
No cutting celery. Okay.
All right. So just find a comfortable spot, gently close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath and just begin to notice your inner experience. Just begin to observe. Let me do all the work. There's nothing for you to do here other than observe what's going on. Let me do the work. There's nothing you need to know or to understand for this to work. And there's nothing you can do to block the healing. So just begin, as you pay attention inside yourself, notice if you start to see anything or hear anything. You may notice a fragrance or a taste. You may have thoughts come up or emotions come up. Just let them come up. You may even have pain come up. Let it come up. This is the energy coming up and moving out. If your body starts to move on its own in any way, just let that happen. Or if you feel like moving or shifting, let that happen. You're free to move. You may begin to drop into a very deep state, feeling very relaxed. You may even feel like you're falling asleep, and that's okay too. Allow whatever happens to happen, and just observe and feel and look and listen, just like you're at the movies, but you're not trying to change the movie. And I'm going to work on you quietly now. We're going to go together into that inner space. And I'll work on you quietly for just a minute or two, and then you'll hear my voice when it's time to come back. So just rest. Let yourself relax more than you have in a long, long time. Let me do the work. Then you'll hear my voice when it's time to come back. Now, very, very slowly now, become aware of the sound of my voice and all the sounds around you. And begin now to deepen your breathing, becoming more alert, more awake, more aware, but staying very, very relaxed. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes now as you take a deep, long breath in and out, becoming more aware, more awake, more alert. And one more time, take a deep, beautiful breath. Fill yourself up with new life. And a deep breath out. And come all the way back now, wide awake and alert, refreshed and relaxed, and slowly opening your eyes. Yes, all the way back now. All right. What did you experience? You're glowing.
It was actually very interesting because I'll tell you what I saw. So my visual sense is always the strongest.
Yeah.
I was seeing this like, I want to call it a negative image, not negative as in bad negative, negative as in you have the like it's a film, the negative of a film.
Yes.
And so it was this face that kept popping in and out. And first I thought it's a face of a man, but then I was like, it's not the man or a woman, it's a being. And this face, the negative of a face, because it was white with like black in the eye sockets and the nose and the mouth. So I could definitely see that it was a face, but it was a negative of a face as opposed to a positive of a face, like, you know, the old style film that would pop in and out. And then there were times where I would feel something like, I was like, oh, they're working on my heart. Oh, they're working on the bottom of my feet.
Yes. I could feel the bottoms of your feet getting a lot of attention. Yeah. Interesting. Go on. And
So,
what did the sensations feel like?
nothing painful or anything like that. It was just, and it felt like an awareness of there's something going on there, and it was almost like I could watch what was going on. It's like, okay, so I'm an eye surgeon by training, so I've seen a lot of not just eye surgery but other surgeries. And it was almost like I was in an operating room watching surgery happen. I was like observing this surgery on the inside of my body. And then at the end of it, it was quite interesting. The image I got right at the end, before you said we're going to come back now, was I could see it was like a picture of me in full. Now, everything I was experiencing almost till now was sort of in like, let's call it black, white, gray tones. And all of a sudden there was a picture of me, full color, walking. I was walking, I could see the side of me walking with heels on, the high heels on. It was funny because it was like I was walking down the sidewalk, confidently walking in heels, right before you said wake up.
So that's so fascinating, because I find with Biofield Healing, it activates the right side of the brain, which often communicates in metaphors and images. And you're describing the observer effect that occurs all the time, where you're witnessing what's happening, you're feeling it. I'm not talking to you, telling you this, your own inner experience is going on, and you're getting the imagery of the end result, which is you walking in heels confidently. You're seeing the outcome as if it's already done, which it is. And it's communicated to us through these sometimes pictures. Sometimes people just have a knowing. Sometimes people will hear it or have a conversation silently inside, a dream-like experience. You're having exactly the type of experience and it's unique to you. It's unique to each person, will have their own unique experience. Even if I do this for a group, every individual, it's fascinating, has an individual experience unique to them.
Okay, so now that we've been through this experience,
yes,
how do we make it manifest and stick? Because
so
what happens a lot of times is people have temporary improvement, and then something happens where it falls back or whatever.
You're totally right on with that. That's actually why I created my longer program, because I've saw people over the years have these miraculous results, but they didn't hold it. Some people will. Some people, from just a demo like this, they will hold it permanently. Other people will dip back into their old pattern because there's an imprint of this pattern in your field. And we don't realize it, but the power of our thinking about it and our emotions from the original trauma we rehearse that over and over. Like you were saying earlier, you think about this a lot. You think about those heels and I want this to go away and I'm so frustrated. Like it's on your mind. That actually makes the groove in the tire go deeper. So the way I help people create a more permanent result is by having more exposure to the biofield healing frequencies, this vibration that I bring in. It's not something you do every week for the rest of your life, but usually it's why I create, when I work with people one-on-one or in my groups, it's no less than a month, because when they have a repeated succession, many, many people will hold it permanently. Some people need to examine their thinking and find the emotions that they've stuffed down. And that's why, again, why I've created programs for this, to help people become consciously aware instead of unconscious. And that's because that's what's causing them to dip back and why they don't have permanent healing. You have to, in many cases, clear out the beliefs, free up these emotions, and quit resisting the very thing you're trying to get rid of. Because if you're resisting it, trying to stop it, you're actually feeding it and keeping it stuck. And then when you put this biofield healing and are exposed to that again and again, maybe like 4 times or so, it accelerates the whole release and healing process, and then people shift. But you have to cover all the bases. And that's the beauty of this. It will make people aware of their emotions, aware of their thinking, and bring it up to the surface so it moves out. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. Most people get this observer effect that you so clearly described. Things that they weren't even aware of from childhood that had a huge impression on them that they weren't even aware are contributing to the pain in the current day. It could be 50 years later. But something that happened, they logged that into the computer and it's still affecting them today.
Very interesting.
Yes.
So for people to get an experience and get started, I know you have a free gift for the audience, which we're going to put it in the show notes to make sure the link is there and people can get it. But tell us about the free gift for people to be able to experience some of this.
This is a deeper dive into the information you must understand about the hidden reasons, the beliefs, the emotional clearing, how to get that started, how to bring it up and become consciously aware of it so you're not walking around in the dark. So it's information for your left brain, but it also includes a longer biofield healing experience that you can use again and again to have what you experience today and really bring this stuff up, move it out, and use it again in the comfort of your home. And it's an MP3 and an accompanying e-workbook for the people who are very visual and kinesthetic and like to write. It's both. So if you're auditory, if you're visual, if you're kinesthetic, there's something for everyone here. And it's just a deep dive into the hidden reasons for pain and suffering of all types. You can apply this to anything. And very effective. Some people have total healing just from this free gift. So I hope your audience will appreciate and download it and use it. It's important that you use it. That's the key here.
Okay, so after we use it and we decide, you know what, we need a little bit of more, how do we get in touch with you?
There will, you can find me at my website, which is www.painfreelivingprogram.com. Reach out anytime. You can find me there. It shows you how to work with me one-on-one or my groups, and I invite you. Believe me, I'm here for you. It's my greatest joy to give back and show people the way out of the darkness that I used to be in. It's just such a joy. So please let me help you.
So as you're telling us, here's what you can do and here's what my free gift is, the fax machine's over there ringing. I'm like saying, okay, that's my symbol that I'm supposed to do more of this. So I'm going to be the first person to take advantage of the free gift, and then you'll be hearing from me. But I hope that the people who watch this, the audience that listens, get something out of this. I know you will, because I see people who are stuck all of the time and they need a little bit more help. Yes. And it's not going to be in a pill or a procedure. So, Debora Wayne, thank you so much for being on the Wellness Revolution, because this is revolutionary.
Thank you for inviting me. You are fabulous.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Revolution podcast. If you want to hear more on how to bring wellness into your life, visit drveronica.com. See you all next week. Take care.